questions. Do you want to start, Septimus?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, my intention is like every week just to sync up. See what's going on. See what's something I can support, and yeah, no distractions. I'll pass it to Nate.
Yeah, intentions is just to keep you updated on this handbook, and no distractions at the moment. I'll pass it to Tam.
My distractions is my dinner. My intentions are, well, we have a short agenda, but to get through that agenda and see where we are and what else needs to happen. Eduardo?
Bon profit. In my case, it's just to check the agenda, the points that we have an update on the scouts call that we just had, and just talk about ethCC kind of intentions outreach. By the way, Damian, do you know if Griff is around or if he will be present on this call? If you have him around,
Yeah, he just told me he won't make it to this call, but is there something? I mean, I have him in my bag.
No, it's okay. It's just to be aware of that.
Eduardo, what do you need him for?
Oh no, nothing. I just if he was around, yeah. That's it. So shall we start?
I guess maybe let me bring up a housekeeping question. Should we just move this call and the scouts and just combine them into one call? Do we need to have two calls?
We don't need to.
That's just a general question. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I never joined this call, so I cannot answer this.
Oh, you haven't been joining the scouts call.
I think that for the amount of kind of agenda we have, one call should be enough for both. So yeah, for me it's okay. Nate?
I don't mind it being in the same time. I think that, having the dedicated TEC Scouts period does produce a lot because we do really focus on especially it being a new working group, that it might be important for the short term to have its own dedicated time period, but either way, I think it's fine.
My thinking is that there's so much overlap, but maybe there's not. My thinking is that there's so much overlap and that the Hatch Outreach group is slowly closing. And everything we talk about in the Hatch Outreach group now is relevant to the TEC Scouts, right? I think, the handbook, Hatch Outreach campaigns, I feel like all of this would be beneficial for the Scouts to also know.
Yeah.
And I want to raise that. I wouldn't be able to join. I can't do that time. But I think that maybe I'm not required for that either. So, but I feel like we were passing this kind of information back and forth between the scouts, which is working, but we could probably optimize if we just have one meeting that, I know this hour doesn't work for many of the scouts. So I wonder if we could just combine it into that 1 hour, and I will be the one who doesn't attend. But maybe we get through this call and see if it makes sense, and you and Chui can have a discussion about that.
Yeah, or we can raise the question in the community stewards. So yeah, because I think the TEC Scout is a topic that we should talk in the community stewards today, regarding if it's a working group, what do we do, etc., etc. If we we change the name, we open a Discord or not, blah blah blah. So I think part of this conversation is also the calls, if we fusion them or not. And it will be nice because Shui will be there. Oh no, Shui won't be there. We have the metagame one. Well, I can talk to him and just know his feedback about it.
Hey Eduardo, do you want to lead with the agenda so I can finish my dinner?
Yes, of course. No problem. I'm sorry. It was not very empathic for me. So Hatcher handbook. That's the first topic of the agenda today. We had a sync with Nate just today about it, and we had another conversation with today about it with Tam, Nate, and then we sort of walked through it and agree on some consensus. I don't know if you had the time yesterday night or today to work on it, just to see if we can sort of if you want to give your part of the update or not.
I'm working on the timeline visualization, which I think is going to be interesting. We for really good conversation. Going a different direction than what I initially had planned for, just because we do want to assume that hatchers, they've already gone through the process of becoming a hatcher, which means trusted seed, which means a lot of the assumptions that we had were kind of irrelevant. We don't want to bog people down with how to start a Web3 wallet. If you're a hatcher, you already have that, and so the idea now is to provide a timeline and to provide all the things that they can expect from the hatch process. And so right now I'm working on the timeline and going from there. It's just going to have a visual for it. And then build from there.
Yeah, and I think the Tam mentioned something that was really important that I didn't consider. We already have the visual explainer that says phase 1 and phase 2. So it's basically yeah, exactly. You have it there too. You have stage 1 and stage 2 in the mirror. So yeah, it's really good. I like that visual representation that you're doing. I think it will be really helpful for everyone to sort of give feedback on it.
Yeah.
And
the only thing I was going to add was like specific dates and like specific actions each person should take and things like that, just to have a simple visual for it, and then explain all of the parameters and stuff within the body of the text. Because most of the parameters they're not going to need to know. It's just kind of telling a story that has the parameters incorporated within it, including rage quitting. Rage quitting, when I was evaluating it, trying to explain it, it's very difficult because it depends on how much we raise during the fund. So going through this convoluted mathematical stuff is not really, I don't know if it's necessary. I would like to provide transparency to make sure hatchers understand that if they do decide to rage quit, that they got the token, that they got the money that is supposed to be returned to them is accurate. But I'm not sure if anybody has any ideas around that, because it does have to incorporate not only the hatch tribute but the impact hours associated with the final raise amount.
I think
Quick question. Go ahead, Seth.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think we would use the table of when people is rage quitting, they know how much money they have. Depending, I mean, it depends also on the money we raise. And yeah, I think it's transparent enough actually. Like we have these proposals.
Okay. I also say we don't. I'm on the keep it simple team right now. Like it should be very simple, and we can describe. I don't think we need a mathematical formula for rage quitting for the Hatcher handbook. We can that maybe that's a detail that's too granular. It's too technical, but we can say the hatch tribute and what we've been calling that impact hour allocation is the cultural tribute. So the allocation that's going to the impact hour earners is called the cultural tribute, and then we know what the hatch tribute is. That's defined. The cultural tribute will be some, a variable based on the final raise. But we could say that, right? We could say that relatively easily, and I don't think we need to spend. You guys tell me. Do you think that if it's explained as rage quitting is the amount, if rage quitting means to me as a hatcher that if I decide I don't want to participate in this hat, I don't want to participate anymore, I'm able to withdraw my funds. I'm able to withdraw the amount of X DAI I've put into the hatch minus the hatch tribute and minus the cultural tribute. that's how I would that's how we've been describing it. And I would maybe say that I just want to raise the question, does that sound insufficient for the purposes of a Hatcher handbook? Or would
I
there
don't.
be elaborate on that?
I don't think it does. Like I like the idea of just calling it a cultural tribute and just letting it be, but I didn't know if like, there may be some, if somebody's rage quitting and there's already going to be problems, and so making sure that they have, transparency in terms of like making sure that the mechanism that we put into place for rage quitting works as we described it. And I don't know. Yeah. I don't think it needs to be that granular, but I'm just trying to like, cover all my bases in terms of.
But exactly what do you think is missing in terms of transparency for the hackers? I feel like the information is out there, but maybe we could be more clarifying on this. But
I also feel like, I was talking with Eduardo and I looked at this today and I was like, wow, this is ready. Let's publish it. I think between this checklist here and, I might include a few of these things, or at least, is it, first of all, I just want to say, is this the document that we're looking at, or is there a final document? Is this the latest version that we're looking at?
Yes, this is the latest version. There still needs to be run through, be more cohesive. But this will be. This is a working document. This is not the final version of it, of course.
Yeah,
that's great. All right, so I love everything. You know that I said that already. I think that a lot of the work that you've written here should actually be copied and updated in Gitbook, because it's a lot of detail that maybe that's not quite up to date. So I feel like we should copy that back and take it out of this document. But with this checklist, and then,
So you like the checklist?
I really like the checklist.
Okay.
Because it's like, hey, Hatcher, did you do all these things? It's just so easy for a Hatcher to be able to go through this list and like, yes, I have this. Yes, 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 yes. No, without having to like scroll and scroll and scroll and get to that. And then be like, oh, this review the hatch process is interesting. What's missing in here, I'm seeing, is like review, like what the parameters mean to me, review what the parameters mean to me. And I would add that to this checklist. And then what these parameters mean to me is here, right? Like, I think this was the goal of this, right? Eduardo, this was like your original vision, what all of the parameters mean to the Hatcher specifically.
Yeah. Correct.
Okay.
And then I think we're done. I think it's publishable like before the hatch. So yay.
Yeah, we're aiming to that. We are like, I feel like what I mentioned to Nate yesterday night was about like, imagine someone in a door, and then that person opens the door to the hatch. What are the things they will face? Like it's this process of, once you enter a space, you will see a few guidelines on the entrance, on the door. So this, it's to me a little bit of the only thing that is left for this document is to then shape it to a tone that is like the same way you will enter in this, just the shaping and the narrative is the only thing that I will add it after the technical part, which is a little bit on the other document that I was working on, just to make it, a guidance in a way for people, not just a bunch of concepts. That's why we wanted to structure in a timeline in a way that it's easy to digest, and not something that is too tricky.
So that's why I do think the timeline should exist, because there are a lot of questions that I had when I first initially went through the process over again. Being a hatcher, and most likely people are going to be both a backer and a builder, and so understanding when certain things, like when does the tech tokens being minted for me happen? If I donate to the hatch as a backer, it mints automatically. But when do the tech tokens minted for impact hours occur? And when should I expect that? Like, and how much I should receive for that? Things of that nature that you don't really think about, but you might have questions as you're going through the process.
And exactly, like this is exactly what you mentioned. It is the reason of this document for me, because it's like we have a description of the parameters next to the web page. I forgot the name. We have the description of each parameter there. That doesn't mean it says anything else, and we are missing this something else that it's quite relevant for a bunch of people about timing and about when and about how. So yeah.
Yeah, and so like, making sure that they understand that, after the hatch period ends, or maybe the hatch period doesn't end and we hit the maximum goal somehow, and and that's exactly when it ends, then we need to start moving on. And how do you know that? But there are also things like the tutorial stuff. Like I would like to see a tutorial of like how to rage quit. What exactly do I have to do, and how many transactions do I have to sign for this to occur? Which I can't get access to because I think we closed down the demo app. And I was hoping to see if they could launch it back up and we could do a quick silent video tutorial that we could just link. But I don't know if that's too detailed, or we just want to keep it just...
I do think this is relevant to understand that this document should be remain quite simple, and then all the other things that we recognize that will serve us, we can just put in a list and say like, hey, we need to do the git book. Hey, we may need a video of rage quitting. Hey, And I think this is a result of this process, because we're identifying the user and what things are relevant for the user in a more detailed fashion. So I do think we do need this kind of video of how to rage quit, and this document to bring this. Sorry,
I've been asking Sam like if we could do a quick video, and he just told me that yes, we can just do it, and it's super simple.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be nice, and just understanding like how much money, if like I'm sending, $1,000 of wrapped X dye, how much money should I actually send to my wallet? Making sure that I have enough money for the gas fees and all that good stuff. So I don't have to make multiple transactions or have to use the bridge more than I need to.
The thing, it would be like a test thing, because like the money that's in the hatch is not like, it's not representative. It's just how to do it, but it doesn't represent like what is going to pass in the future, because on this hatch demo we might raise like, I don't know, we did like 1 million point something, and like the impact hours also are different from this test hatch than are going to be in the future. Like everything is going to be different, but just if what we want is just the sake of how to do it, we can just do it. But if we want to be representative, it will be not.
I'd like to share my thinking about the importance of having this available before the hatch versus having it very highly detailed but available after the hatch. I think that this is something, a checklist. Maybe we publish the checklist differently. Maybe we could say, hey, comms, here's the checklist for hatchers. You want to publish this in an infographic or something. But I feel like this is the checklist that we should be distributing now. I thought it would be part of the Hatcher's Handbook, but if we want to get very detailed in this handbook and it ends up we release it after we actually hatch, then it would be worth at least getting this checklist and getting the checklist and the parameters out. So here's the checklist, here are the parameters that affect you, and that's the skinny version. We don't have to call it the handbook anymore. We can call it Hatcher Checklist and Parameters that Affect You. And then the Hatcher Handbook can be something bigger than that. But I don't think we should delay that checklist and the parameters to getting that out in this very concise form. But we don't need to call that the handbook. We can call it something else, but just get it out and get it to communications, because communications will need some lead time to be able to distribute it.
Well, then I'll have to ask, are there any parameters that you would like to see on here that are not?
Is this the same list from the parameter dashboard?
Some of them. These are the ones that I thought were relevant for the hatchers to know, that have the most impact on how they operate. But there are several more parameters that could be included.
we had a conversation with Sam and with Griff regarding which they consider were the ones that a hatcher must know. And Sam mentioned the Hatch tribute, the cultural tribute, the timings, like the ones that refers to time regarding votation or like just know about the timings. And he mentioned another one that I just I wrote it down. I don't have it at my hand. But yeah, he mentioned those as like the ones that people rage quitting. Yeah, the ones that people need to know about as a top priority.
So that seems right. Like the hatch period, the minimum goal, that makes sense. The target goal is not so important. The impact hour rated target goal, that's going to be very difficult to explain. That's why it's not on the list. Hatch tribute is important. Membership ratio. I think we should say the membership ratio in here, right? Because your CStack score will determine how much you can participate. That, for me as a hatcher, the membership ratio tells me how. Oh, you did? Shit.
Yeah.
Right there. Yeah. Okay. Period, minting. Yeah, I feel like this is everything. Hold on. Let's have a quick look at the second part. Wait, what was that? Hatch tribute. Okay, they're just in different order, but they're all there. Cool.
I could include vote duration, maybe.
Vote duration. Yeah, of course, because I'm a hatcher. I need to know how long the vote will last, right?
Yep.
So I'm going to be responsible to vote. So I will not want to know that when a vote opens, it'll last for 3 days. That does make sense to me.
Yeah.
So then here we have support required and quorum. These two, as a hatcher, I should know that I'm engaging in this voting scheme and what the voting scheme is. So how much support is required? What's the minimum quorum? I would go through all of these, actually.
Okay.
I would describe all of them simply.
Okay.
And more like my. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it does. Yeah, I just, I tend to overthink things and not execute unless it's perfect. So, yeah, okay. So we'll keep it simple and we'll just include the DAO configuration stuff as well. And do you want me to include graphics as well, or?
For me, it's a bit going back to the point that Tam mentioned about having the checklist as a priority with the params that affects you. It's about that. I think we can see after we finish the document if there is any infographic that is needed, but I will focus on having this part kind of done, and then we can run a check to see if we lack information that needs to be visually represented. But yeah, for me, it's exactly what Tam mentioned, like prioritizing this checklist, timeline, and the params. And then I second also that something that Tam mentioned last week, which was about we already have places to have information. Let's not create extra spaces or extra things for information that is already there. So for me, the detailed version should go on either the same document or eventually in the same document or in an already Gitbook or in the already forum posts updated. Rather than having a second document, it's more about having this information detailed, updated in the places that it already exists. And, so we don't do double work, kind of.
Okay. Yep. And so I will finish the parameters. I'll start working on that right now. And then would you be willing to do the additional resources / contact information, just in case hatchers have questions and kind of guide them where to go and what they need to do, who they need to talk to, and so on?
Perfect. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Nice.
And then we'll just call that the skinny sheet.
I call it like skinny info sheet. I don't know. It's like the most important information. We could even just call it, I don't know, somebody can come up with a name for it. Info sheet. I don't know.
Well, I'll do it that way. And sorry for convoluting it so much.
No, it's great. In fact, I think you definitely overdid it, and a lot of this we can use elsewhere.
Okay.
Or in the more comprehensive Hatcher book, right? Like the Hatcher handbook. In fact, what we're doing here is like a info sheet, right? Like a super simple info sheet. And all of this as a Hatcher handbook is great.
Okay.
But by the time we release it, apply for a scholarship, I don't know, maybe it's not too late. Activate your trusted seed. None of that will be too late, actually. I mean, it depends on how long it takes to build this whole thing. So maybe if we want to go back and rebuild this as like a handbook that's more comprehensive than the skinny sheet, the info sheet, then we can have all this detail in that. I leave it up to you.
Yeah. No, I would like to get a comprehensive one in there. I think it'd be important for just documentation purposes, but yeah, I know we're on a deadline and we need to get some useful utility out of this. So yeah, we'll keep it simple and finish up the document today. Very sorry once again.
Don't be sorry for doing a great job.
Don't be sorry at all. Like this wouldn't be possible without your assistance. So yeah, don't worry. Next point in the agenda. We have the updates on Sprout. So we had two things. We had the manifesto kind of feedback. I will add the agenda to here so we can sort of watch it together. I added to the TEC Scouts. There's a new link there. So that link goes to agenda. Basically today, Shui mentioned the fact that we could add some entry points for people, like links to the FAQ, additional resources. He basically wanted to add an additional section that is for resources and briefly quick questions, like if you were scouted and you go and you look for this manifesto, and then just a question of how do I propose, or where do I go? Where's my first entry point to the TEC after I have been scouted? So just these 2 or 3 questions that can serve to a guidance for people who find this document in case they need to be follow up or they want a follow up of anything. So this is his feedback. Also to add the Gitbook and the frequently asked questions, or the Gitbook only, to the link of additional resources. That was his feedback on the manifesto. It's a work on progress, so it probably will be finished by Friday, adding the rest of the feedback that in the meeting was given. We had in the meeting Ashley from Giveth join us to have feedback on community building aspect and how she sees it, and she is in fact going to the metagame lounge to provide I booked a follow-up call with her so she can provide feedback from her point of view about the lounge. Then also Shui presented his script for the launch today. We added some feedback regarding not getting too detailed on certain aspects, like what's the difference in between the tokens that we have, and just more focused on trying to engage with the community that we are targeting, in this case metagame. So he has a script. He still has yet to add the link to the agenda, but it was a very nice script that he developed, and we're going to test today for the first time and see how that goes. And then Nate made a suggestion to focus also on the cultural build and to identify which aspect of the community that we are targeting we can focus on. And they explain about metagame and how they are more interested on gravity. So we can, for example, tailor this script that we created a little bit more detailed to the community that we are targeting. And we're gonna record this party so we can sort of have a feedback session with everyone else who is interested in giving feedback for these first iterations. And then Shui also mentioned the launch and the internal launch that we're doing with Gravity. And he mentioned to maybe it could be a good idea to sort of, since One Hive have the coffee on Fridays and Metagame also have their own session of socialization on Friday, to sort of create like a social Friday for across communities, and to move the launch to Fridays, so we can sort of be on sync with the other communities and just hang out. And he also suggested some platforms that serves as icebreakers for the calls to use them. And yeah, so basically this is a little bit of what we had today. It was a very productive call. We had a lot of people, since as you may have seen, and it was productive. So and one
Cool.
well, this.
Cool. It's super neat. Yeah, I feel like there's just so much overlap between this call and that call, and I think that it would make more sense to roll them up into one, but maybe I don't know when the right time to start that is. Maybe I don't like, do we just start doing that now, Eduardo?
Yeah, I will talk to
I think I
Shu.
have a sync with Chewy today. Maybe I'll add that to
Yep.
our
Yep.
one-on-one.
I do have a question. Do we see the evolution of this working group also incorporating proposal management or fund management after the TEC hatch is opened, like in terms of guiding people who do want to propose within the TEC and how to do that and going on? Is that going to be kind of an agenda, part of the goals of this working group, or should that be delegated to something else?
That is one, I feel that the TC Scouts are an entry point for proposals and projects. Therefore, we should guide them through certain part of the process. I think that the part that comes to proposal and not engagement, but the more dense part is more to SoftGov regarding certain questions they may have, or it's a collaboration between SoftGov and us regarding, for example, if the proposal needs advice process, or they need a more detailed kind of feedback. I feel that falls into SoftGov, but TC Scouts, as I'm seeing it, it's an entry point for proposals and projects to collaborate with the TC or to propose to the TEC. Therefore, we need to have the tools and this kind of what you just mentioned. This is how I see it. I don't know, Tam, what do you think about it?
I think we'll see how it evolves. I think it's starting as an initiative. I mean, I think it's starting as an initiative to reach out to other communities, and part of that is to promote the TEC in terms of a funding mechanism for token engineering projects. And if that means just bringing awareness to TEC, or actually running through to the last mile of getting the proposal submitted, sort of supporting through the proposal, I think we'll see. That's how it would be great if that's what it evolves into. But I think it's really up to the team and the dynamics of the team to see how that goes.
Agree with that. Does anyone have any question or comment about the TC Scouts?
No.
Alrighty. Next point in the agenda, it's ethCC.
I've mentioned this last week about doing Hatch Outreach at ethCC, and while it seems like everyone will be doing Hatch Outreach at ethCC just by being there, I think the question came up of do you want anything specific? Have a specific event? Is there anything specific we want to do? And I think Eduardo is in a very good place to sort of take this on. So maybe you want to share what your thinking is around it?
Yes. So the first approach is to sync with Chewy regarding the dates that has been picked for social events, and then based on that, sort of create a small approach or a small kind of process to what we're going to tackle and what do we want from this outreach. So I feel that I will first sync with Chewy, and then probably based on the information that he provides on timings, accessibility, and so on, I would probably create a strategy to understand how I'm gonna target this, if I'm going to target tech engineers specifically, if I'm going to target proposals or projects, and so it will depend a little bit of what do we identify as a priority and the people who are going to. So
Should we just be like bull in a china shop, just kind of just be everywhere and as bright and as loud as possible?
Say that again, sorry.
Nothing. I was just commenting on like just the the energy we bring. I think we should just be everywhere, all the time.
Yeah, that's clearly. I feel that we have that energy already within the community. But also there is this more of a personal aspect or personal touch or approach. I don't know how you want to call it. People that we may identify or to communities that we may identify are like, hey, you have an amazing project. Look at this. Look at us. This is So this is something we will have a further discussion about it to sort of come up with an effective way to take advantage of the time and the opportunity that we are there. I think that's something that we should like really take advantage about, not only to be loud and visible, but also to foster engagement with key people.
Yeah, and this is why I think the TE Scouts and Hatch Outreach, of course, have a lot of overlap and can benefit from working together, because it is like, hey, you have this great proposal. I mean, you have this great project. We'd love you to submit a proposal. Just go to our forum. Like, maybe it'd be great to have like a checklist for a new project. Like, okay, read this, read this, watch this video, look at these proposals and contact.
Form where I can gather information to further development or further contact. There are many ways to tackle this, but an iPad and me will probably be something that we'll be doing a lot.
All right. Shall we move to the campaign? I think it's actually worth bringing this up in the stewards call next as well. Just sort of like overall TEC outreach, not necessarily Hatch outreach, but like maybe Chewy has some updates on the event planning that he can share, which will already cover this. So let's see what he has. Okay.
Also, by the way, I'm listening in on Zeps. It's Griff. I'm here, just so you know.
Do you want to contribute anything to that at the end of this before we end this discussion on outreach with Paris ethCC? Do you want to share what you guys got cooking?
That's for you, Griff.
Oh, it's for me? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought Chewy was on the call, but now I see it's Nate's icon. Yeah, ethCC, we're working. One thing that we need, and I'm sure Chewy will bring it up in the stewards call, is that we need someone who has a bank account with thousands of dollars in it that can take crypto to pay for a hostel that we're going to rent out. So that's one need. As far as plans, we're trying to have... The goal would be to have everyone there on the 19th, the day before the conference. There'll be a lot of events, so hopefully people are there beforehand. I'm giving a talk at some point on the main stage, and we're going, I'm sure, to get people giving talks at the Taoist, which is on the 23rd, 2 to 10. So it's like almost a second Tao conference that's happening on the day after ethCC. And then on the 24th, the goal is to have like a big sort of an unconference for the TEC to really plan, TEs would be invited, but it's not really a public thing. We would just invite people by word of mouth to try to have sort of a, I don't know if you guys have ever done an unconference where you have You have people like you don't have a set agenda or speakers, but everyone kind of like makes a plan or says what they want to talk about, and then adds that to the mix, and then a couple organizers will like sort the agenda and prioritize. And well, then everyone votes. Everyone gets stickers to like vote on what agenda topics they want to discuss the most, and then you create a conference that's like. That has like a couple tracks, and you try to arrange it so that everyone can go to the things that they want the most, but that we can fit everything in. And so like maybe there'll be a dev track, and maybe there'll be like a comms track, or and a soft gov track. I don't know, and then we just like try to schedule gatherings to discuss important things, and with a focus on like post commons upgrade plans. But that would be like an all-day thing on the 24th.
Nice. That's an Hatch Outreach opportunity, clearly.
Yeah.
Quick question, Griff. Does the hotel can be paid with card?
They only accept bank transfer.
Oh, they only accept bank transferred.
Yeah. It's okay. We're gonna probably ask in the steward's call, and if we'll see who is the most available. If I have to ask like Jordy or someone like that, that's like crypto solid and has money in the fiat world and will take my crypto, I will. But I figured we'd first ask the stewards and see.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, just like is usually these hotels have a booking system that is online. And I mean, if it's pay by card, I can do it by card receiving crypto because I have a crypto card. So yeah, just putting out there in case it's needed.
Nice. Yeah, well, that's great news, and I will definitely consider that. I have I gave them 2 credit cards, and I know nothing other than Chewy told me we need a direct bank transfer. So.
Wow. That's very unusual. It's a hotel.
Maybe it's a scam. We'll find out.
And don't think that's a joke. Like usually that's very common here. Like pretty photos, and they tell you that they will tell you the key after you bank transferred, because it's the only way, and they do not accept credit cards because they don't have a platform. They do not exist in real life. So just
I'll tell Julie that. I mean, luckily she's on the ground in Paris, and she can go and see that it's a real place with real rooms.
yeah, I think that's a must. This is very common. Right. So next point of agenda.
Next is just the campaign, the first week of the Hatch messaging, which I think I took in this sprint and haven't made any progress on, to be honest with you. I know maybe that's something we can do before it's tomorrow, before the retrospective tomorrow. I mean, I think ideally it's sort of like, in fact, it's very short, right? Now that I'm thinking about it, that Hatch Outreach campaign is like, here's the checklist and here's the parameters. Here's the info sheet that Nate and Eduardo graciously made for us. And the Hatch is open. Thanks, guys. You guys did it. You did the Hatch First Day Outreach campaign. Yeah, I think that would actually be great, so that people understand clearly all the steps that they have had to have finished if they didn't, and what the parameters mean. And maybe we do something similar to what we did with the, the Hatcher Outreach, the Impact Hour campaign. And this is another, we have 3 to 5 people reaching out one-on-one to everyone on that list. In this case, it would be, we would probably be able to use the same, we would probably be able to use the original list instead of the impact. Yeah, we would use the original list instead of the impact hour list. So the TEC curate sheet list that we used for the Hatcher outreach. Does that make sense to everyone?
I will preserve using the impact hour sheet, mainly because of the people to have. It will be for me more common sense if I message someone who I already messaged before. So in case the ones that you have reached also, and then the ones that are left in the credit sheet, then we can divide them in between ourselves. But I will sort of stick to the names that are on the impact hour list, and then just follow up with the ones that are not there, and then.
Yeah, I think the impact hour list is very good because we know our active community members. But maybe, yeah, we haven't compared the list to see what the delta is between the people on the, who's on our Hatcher outreach list that's not on our impact hour list. But there's probably some people who don't have impact hours that might still want to be Hatchers, right? Or might still want to know.
Yeah, there's.
There's also
Maybe not that many.
There's a transparency list that we really need to get up for the trusted seed. I don't know if that ever got up there yet, but all the people who have activated their membership should be on our list as well.
First, with priority.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, then shall we just wait for? I mean, the people who has activated the membership, I think, should be the first target of this campaign first. And then so yeah, I think this list will be a top priority probably to target. So not even create a list, not even impact this list.
Yeah, that sounds right. Cool. I'll update the issue with this.
Who is doing that list, Griff?
It is a Common Stack effort to, and I think I just saw, I think it's okay to share. I think that there's I just saw a version of it. I think I can share it before it goes public since it will be public soon. It's everyone who's activated their trusted seed membership. And it sort of looks like this.
Wow, 200.
So really, it's everyone's 212.
Wow.
212. New York area code.
That's nice.
Manhattan area code. 212 is nice, yeah. Congratulations, everyone.
Congrats.
Cool. Okay, and then should we talk about the closure doc? And also the additions that you may want to make through the ethCC as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think what Griff mentioned in the last meeting and what we just talked in the morning, it is like this. We should wait until ethCC to have the final updates on this. It is ready for review. So once that's done, it will be just adding the few aspects that we will need to have from ethCC, and we can close it and close the issue the same day we have the goodbye party. And yeah, I think that will be the only thing left to do. On my side, I don't have any changes for this document. I added the feedback from Septimus and transparency session, so it's just a shield document. It's nothing to be too stressed about. So I'm taking it like that, and it's ready, and it's just we'll be waiting until we finally find a purpose to it.
I hear a void. Are you guys waiting for me to say something? I'm sorry. Oh, we can't.
You're muted, Tam.
Oh. I was just saying, hey, welcome, Neem. I think you're new to Hatch Outreach, but are you new to the TEC, and would you like to take a moment to introduce yourself? I don't see the microphone muting going off. Cool. Okay. Well, if you could hear us, just saying welcome to the Hatch Outreach call. Okay, cool. I think that's the end of our agenda. We've reached the end. Is there anything else that anyone would like to talk about or to bring up before we close the call?
I always have stuff. Oh, go ahead. Okay, sorry, we're playing mute games. I'm not used to the Zeptimus recording requirements. He's hot on the mute button, and he's got to be, because otherwise the speaker goes to the... Anyway, just like requirements for Hatch. I almost... Common Swarm is really close to having that check mark, hopefully tomorrow. I almost want to add like the praise as a check mark. I guess maybe it's part of SoftGov or something, but we're doing an audit. And you know, we have to implement the changes, and we have to do one last praise quant, and ideally there's a token engineering praise party on Friday, which hasn't been really advertised or anything. So I'm starting to worry that the praise system might become the blocker for launching, and I just want to throw that out there.
And do you want to throw that for the Stewards group or for us in Hatch Outreach?
We could probably throw it to the stewards. Maybe I can like make a chart of all an Excel spreadsheet of something, a list of all the things that needs to be done, and see if I can get some support or something.
Okay. We went through the exercise of opening critical to Hatch issues in ZenHub for all the things that have to be done before the Hatch. We have it on our agenda for stewards to review it. Would it be helpful to add a ZenHub issue?
Yeah, I'll make ZenHub issues for them.
Cool. Yeah, we'll go through the list on our stewards call today for sure.
Okay, great. I'm gonna go do that right now. Thank you guys.
Cool. All right, Eduardo, Nate, Zep, anything else we should talk about or take our 7 minutes before the stewards call?
Yeah, I think we could take some minutes.
7.
Thanks, everyone. See you soon.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Tam. Thanks, Edu.
Bye.